It is the OKN Senior, 20 laps, the longest race of the weekend, 26-kilometer race distance. And again, so far this weekend, it has been dominated by the Spaniard Luna Flucher. Pole position in time qualifying and 2 qualifying heat wins. But here though, the grid. Luna Flucher and Hugo Heron will start on row number 1. Wojciech Woda and George Nassar will round out row number 2. Jean Caras and Sebastian Courpeng will round out row number 3. So clearly a penalty has gone to one of the Caras brothers. Austin Gale and Ella Latamea round out row number 4. What can they do from the top 8 positions? Pip Casabene and Marcus Schilkunas, the only other final winner so far this season, starts on the 5th row of the grid. Pip Casabene and, well, yeah, Marcus Schilkunas on that row. Gazi Motlaka and Philippe Cadas go from row 6. They'll have Jakub Mikalev and Charles Lambert on row number 7. Row 8 sees Elizaveta Kozlova and Bernardo Bernaldi rounding out the top 16 on circuits. Then on row number 9, you have Sofia Sanfari and Franciszek Szygelski on that row. Row 10 and the top 20 sees Casper Bonda and Alessandro Biggie rounding out the top 20. Then you have Charles Troxler and Truly Adams from the USA on row 11. Yana Kapoor and Adam Sador go from row 12. They'll have Peyton Westcott and Isaac de Melwyk on row 13. Anastasia Gerasis and Gianna Pascal round out row number 14. Further down the field, they round out the top 28 on the circuit. They've got a bit of work ahead of them at the end of this race. Maximilian Rafalik and Rahim Alabai round out row 15 and the top 30. Alabai's first appearance in the championship this weekend. We'll have Romeo Nassar and Hamza Al-Fayez, who I don't believe will be out on track on the 16th row of the grid. Prix Trevino and Charlotte Page will round out the 17th row of the grid, all the way at the back of the field. Again, those drivers having a challenging weekend of racing so far. But again, the benefit of the Championship of the Future Academy program: whistle blows and the engines fire up. The final is nearly upon us here for the field. Remember, Luna Flucher is going to be, well, in a really strong position here if she wins this final. She's won 4 out of the 5 finals so far this season, has only lost out on 1, and in that one, she did finish P2. Someone diving into the pit lane there. I saw it was a 2-4. Who's not crossed along the line? I think that is the 243. It is Rahim Alabai, the American, in his first appearance in the championship, is pushing his kart down the pit lane and, well, is trailed by, well, a sea of mechanics. And Darren Clark, who I thought in my life I would never see running, he is indeed running. And, well, he's going to try and pull him over into the repair area. But there you can see the Kart Republic mechanics coming to the aid there to try and get it started. Now they're fiddling around with something along the lines there of the accelerator pedal. I'm not too sure what that was they were attaching to the kart, but looks like it's all good. And looks like he could still be in this race. They try and fire it up. They do fire it up, and he heads out onto the circuit. So a little bit of a scare there for Rahim Alabai. The only good thing about that, he is starting on the 30th spot of the grid. And, well, the whole pack is just ahead of him here. So I think he'll be able to get into position pretty quickly. And he will start from his original starting spot, which is, well, for him, very good to hear. Rest of the field then making their way to the top of the circuit now. Temperature still 32 degrees. This is the last race of the day. There is a look at your final winners so far in the 2024 season. Like we were saying, Luna Flucher has won 3 out of the 4 finals. The only other driver, Marcus Schilkunas, who won the 2nd final in Valencia. Are we going to have a 3rd different final winner in this one? Or are we going to see another dominant performance from Luna Flucher? We didn't get to see that from James Anagnostianis earlier on. Could it be the same story here? Tyres are always the biggest question. And this compound is softer than the juniors. The lights go green. We are racing, and it is a good start from both rows, but it's Flucher who gets the whole shot in towards turn number 1. The field, Constantine is up, but they all make it through turns 2 and 3. They exit down in towards turn number 5, and there's a spin in the middle of the track. Drivers avoid, and there's a huge incident there. And that is not what you want to see at all. And a driver over, there's 5 karts involved. And that is as worse of a start you can imagine for the drivers. And the driver who had flipped is up and walking away. I didn't see the kart number, but the drivers involved there were Sebastian Korpeng, Peyton Westcott was one, Maximilian Rafalik, Rahim Alabai, who just got his kart started, was out of this race now as well, and Romeo Yassar is another one. We are under slow procedure. The race has been neutralized, but my goodness, what was the kart there that had retired? Right, well, we've gone red flag now at the very last moment there, so the drivers have all stopped on the start-finish line. Now, I'm not sure. Now, we'd had gone to slow procedure, but on the Digi flag on the start-finish line, there you can see it. It does display red flag. So I think there's been something happened, a glitch there in the background, but I saw the slow procedure come out. The marshals had deployed the slow signs, and I'm sure that would be a conversation you'd certainly want to be involved in, but let's have a look at that again. Now we can see that all the drivers are okay. There's the initial contact, and you can see their round would go Korpeng, and just as drivers behind, unsighted, would sweep to the outside, and unfortunately not being able to see, and oh my goodness me, that is such a heavy hit. That is such a heavy hit. Not what you want to see at all. Oh, the onboard camera saw it there. Okay, so it wasn't Korpeng that had rolled the kart. So he got hit, and wow, that shows you the violence. It was the 243. It was the 243 that had rolled over, and that is Rahim Alabai. But you could see he was up and out of the kart and walking away. So that is good to see. But Rahim Alabai certainly not the start of his weekend he will have wanted. Of course, this is his first appearance in the championship, and well, yeah, not what you want to see at all. Well, the drivers are all gathered. Race Director Martin Bean now is just going over what's going to happen. Now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Champions of the Future Academy program, live here from Northern Italy at the Franciacorta karting track. 33 degrees is the air temperature, and the action on track is about to heat up as well. After a lengthy delay, after a red flag on the opening lap, the racing is about to restart as the engines fire up and the drivers make their way out onto the circuit. The start of the senior race that we had earlier on is null and void. It is a complete race restart as the drivers will have this time the rolling start. There'll be no stopping on the starting grid or anything like that. It'll be from here now. They'll get the formation and they will start. Confirmation there, the 245, the 246 and the 243 are all missing from the circuit. So they will be out of this race, and the 245 is Sebastian Korpeng. He took heavy damage to his kart. He is out of this race. He would have been starting P6 on the grid. The 46 is also out of the race. The 246, I'm scrolling, is Hamza Al-Fayez. Of course, he will not be taking part. He was involved in a red flag earlier on today. He went to hospital as a precaution. Again, we do hope he is okay. The same as Sebastian Korpeng. And the 243 as well, Rahim Alabai, the driver who was unfortunately rotated over and ejected from the kart, also not going to be taking part in this one. Lights go green. We are racing once again in the senior category as they make their way down in towards turn number 2. This time around, up until this point, it was absolutely fine. It was down this straight here where it all kicked off last time. This time around, it seems to be all good, but we'll wait for the braking zone in towards turn number 5. Yes, 1 or 2 karts running wide, but that is no drama whatsoever as they rejoin at the back of the grid. Race goes on, and it's still Flusha who leads the way now as they make their way through. It looks like Wojciech Woda has got himself up into second place at the start of that one. He'll be delighted with that after starting on the second row of the grid. But the rest of the field all gains those positions as down the inside there, looks like Austin Gale's having to go defensive. He's having to defend from the drivers behind. Ella Latimar as well, also involved in that pack, I think has dropped down just that little bit, but they cross the line. Let's take you through. It's Flusha from Voda, Caddis from Head-On, then it's Gale from Nassar, Motlaka from Mikalev, Casabene from Latimar, then it's Kozlova, the top 11 of this 18-lap final, so it has been reduced just that little bit, but it is still a long race for this field. Eyes on, and well, there was drama on the opening lap in the first instance of this race. There's more drama on the second lap. In the same part of the circuit, there are drivers off the circuit, and there you can see them. Unfortunately, Peyton Westcott and Isaac de Melwyk are out of this race, and the marshals quickly on the scene to try and clear the debris from that one. But heavy damage. I can see some of the side pods have popped off, but thankfully, both drivers okay. Drivers back over the start-finish line, and it's still Flusha who leads the way. Wojciech Woda is still there in second place and is trying to close in at this point, but not able to do so in this opening stage. He needs to make sure that he doesn't allow Flusha to break away. You get on, down the inside, gets past Jean Caddis, and he moves up into P3 now as Gazi Motlaka sets the fastest lap of the race. Gazi Motlaka, who's come from, well, quite far way back in this one. He started on the 6th row of the grid. He is well up the order now, and he's into P5. I can see on my screen that Brix Trevino, unfortunately, is receiving a technical flag. The driver of the number 232, who's currently running in 29th place at the moment at the back of the grid, is going to be eliminated from this race, unfortunately. So that is another retirement in the early stages. Now, George Nassar has just tumbled down my order. I'm not sure if that's a transponder failure or he has himself dropped down the order, because he's now down in my screen in P28, but I've not seen any yellow flags out there, so hopefully he is okay. You get on, fastest lap of the race, as there on your screen, the 2:37 going no further at all. That is Charles Lambert, and he is out of this race. He becomes the latest of multiple retirements, unfortunately. George Nassar has retired, confirmation of that one. So, yeah, that is not a transponder failure. George Nassar is out of this race. Eyes back on this lead battle, and it is still effectively a four-car battle for the race lead. Flusha leads it, by the way, from Wojciech Woda, who's still there in second place as they make their way down in towards turn number 5. No change of position this time around. They stay line astern. Jakub Mikalev now sets the fastest lap of the race, 49.373. He's trying his best to try and close in on this battle, and it could possibly do that. I mean, it's got Gazi Motlaka just ahead, but they are just behind this battle. They are in P5 and P6 at the moment, so there is a possibility of them closing in at the moment on this lead battle. We're on lap 5 of 18. We're coming into the final couple of corners now. We're in sector 3 here. Still Flusha from Voda. Head on from Caddis at the moment. The top 4. There, Gazi Motlaka. Clev still in P6. Gale from Caddis. Philippe Caddis, that is. Ella Latimar is still there as well in P9. Pip Casabene rounding out the top 10. The closest that Wojciech Woda has been here to Luna Flusha. Not going for the move just yet. Remember, Flusha has 3 out of the 4 qualifying heats and finals that we've had over the course of this season. Markus Schulkunis has won 1 out of the 4 that we have done. There you go, got it out in the end. But yeah, she is in line here right now to make it 4 out of 5. There we go. Get my numbers all mixed up on this one. But let's see if she can do it. She's got a long way to go in this final. We're only on lap 6. We're going on to lap 7 now of 18. Flusha controlling this race. Looks comfortable right now. Wojciech Woda is in a position here to take this lead away. Has not yet gone for the move. Has stayed behind. His pace is there. It's matching. He's just, I think, waiting for maybe an error here from Flusha, but those are very few and far in between. Flusha has been on an absolutely faultless performance so far this weekend. So that is easier said than done with that. Sometimes you have to make the move, not expect the move to come your way. Making those moves, though, is Jean Caddis. Back down the inside, retakes third place. against Hugo Heron. He goes back down into P4 as those two continue to battle away. It's now become two groups of two here. These two really need to think about what they want to do here. Whether or not it's battle between themselves and drop down about a second behind these two, or stay line astern and go for the potential move. And there was a slight mistake there from Luna Flucher. Her seemingly shining armour has suddenly got a chink in it as she runs a little bit wide at turn number 5. That gave Wojciech Woda an opportunity there, but again, still just fractionally not close enough to utilise that mistake from Flucher. Into the final hairpin for these two. The other two are now starting to close back in. Karas has started to close back in. He's dropping Hugo Heron. Jakub Mikulev is closing in as well on Gazi Motlika. This on board, Marcus Shilkunas now with the on board, and there you can see battling away. A look at his results over the course of the day. 13th in qualifying, 14th and 9th in his qualifying heats. Certainly trying to make his moves in this one. The only other winner of the finals, that was a heavy hit there with Elizaveta Kozlova just ahead. Trying his level best to try and get past here. As another late lunge here into the final hairpin. Yep, this time plenty of space to get that move done. Say moves back up into P10. Like I say, at the moment does sit in P10. Has not gained or lost any positions right now, as we're back with live pictures here. And well, this is certainly going to be an interesting one because, well, Marcus Shilkunas still there in P10. Has got Ella Latamar just ahead. Philippe Karas and Austin Gale, who are having an almighty fight between themselves. And, well, they chop and change. It looks like he's lost out on one, has our man just ahead. Gale dropping down a position. So Karas up into P7 now. Still, Shilkunas sits behind Ella Latamar. Not able to find the position to get past. You can see here how technical it is. And out again, little movement with the steering wheel just shows again how fast and flowing the track is. You barely have to turn the wheel here to really carry the speed right up the into the moment of the hairpin here. Very late on the brakes, near contact between the two of them. And well, now all of a sudden there's the Zielinski up ahead. Now where did Ella Latamar go? Because now that's 2 places gained. Gains a couple of positions. There's Elizaveta Kozlova just ahead once more. So this is all changed around right now. Where has this all changed it to? Marcus Shilkunas now in 11th place, so he actually had dropped down on that last lap as we go on board for that entire lap. Great to see there. Great shots from the live onboard cameras. Great work from the production team to bring us those live onboard pictures. We saw the very dramatic onboard pictures, of course, earlier on from Sebastian Korpeng as well. So clearly not the start they will have wanted in that one. Eyes on this one, though. Flucher at the moment leading the way, and now leads by about 0.3 of a second. Wojciech Woda, despite best efforts, has not been able to sort of capitalise on the pace here. Is matching the pace of Flucher, but is not beating it here or there. It's just a case of, well, yeah, he's sitting there. He's got exactly the same pace, and he's just waiting for a mistake that may never come from Flucher. So, you know, he's just going to hang back there, see what he can do. And, yeah, I think a second place for him right here would be good. I mean, right now, Wojciech Woda would bump himself up to 7th in the championship standings ahead of Pip Casabene. There's a look at his results over the course of today. Best result has been a second place. He'd be matching that now in this final. P5 in qualifying, 2nd in the first heat, 11th in the second. Wojciech Woda is, of course, yet to win a final this season. That has been dominated by Flucher with 3, Shilkunas with the 1. Right now, Flucher is in line to make it a 4th win of the season. And there you can see her championship extends to 348 now. She's nearly 100 points clear from Philippe Karas at this, the 3rd, the middle stage of the season. Of course, we've got another final to go tomorrow, and is nearly clear by 100 points, 98 in total to be exact. Philippe Karas at the moment as well is struggling a little bit. He's there in P7. He's involved in that battle is a little further back. Jakub Mikulev, who we were talking about earlier on, who set the fastest lap of the race. He's had a pretty, interesting day. 7th in qualifying, 4th in Heat 1. Good result there. Heat 2, though, certainly wouldn't go his way. 24th place in that one, but it seems to be coming back his way now. He got past Gazi Motlaka earlier on. Motlaka as well now having to deal with the likes of the drivers behind. Now Mikulev has closed into Hugo Heron. Heron, who sits there in P4. This could possibly be a podium here for Jakub Mikulev if he can get this move done and maybe another one down the inside. He moves up into 4th place as we go on to lap 14 now. So this is really strong performance here. Now there you can see Jean Caras currently in 3rd place. Now the gap between those two, Jakub Mikulev and Jean-Paul Caras, is currently around 9/10 of a second, I would say, between those two. And just 3/10 of a second between Voda and Flusha. Again, that gap has stayed at a bit of a stalemate right now, both of them on the matching pace. But Mikulev's pace here has been quite extraordinary. Set the fastest lap earlier on. That's gone back to Flusha. Again, Flusha has taken many fastest laps, but is that drama? No, it's not. It's the 2:18. That, I thought, was Luna Flusha for a brief moment there off the track, but it's not. That is Charlotte Page, another one of the Discover Your Drive Initiative drivers who's a similar coloured helmet, similar, obviously, race suit, of course, a similar livery cart, just a very different number, which thankfully I did spot before getting too overexcited there. What happened to Charlotte Page in that one? Well, it looks like just running wide. Was in a 5-kart battle there with others. And unfortunately, I think she just got squeezed out wide there on the exit of turn 5. And that is easier said than done. And it's a very harsh curb on the exit there. Very easy to run off, and it just grabs you and it pulls you off the circuit, and then you end up on the grass. Your best point of action is just to take it off the track, bring it straight back on. Back here with your race leader, Luna Flusha, who is still going strong at the front of this one. Still battling with Wojciech Woda. Now, Woda has closed in a little bit more here. Maybe he was saving something. Did he have something left in the bottom of the tank there? Did he have something left in these tyres? Was he able to close in? Because Flusha's pace has been consistent throughout this. Maybe, again, she was also holding back on the tyres. The pace is good still between these two. 48. But on that last lap, Wojciech Woda was the fastest driver on circuit, 48.325. It's nearly a 10th faster than Luna Flusha on that last lap alone. So maybe now he's starting to think, right, I need to pull the pin here. I need to close in. I need to close that gap. The gap is now less than 3/10 of a second. It closed in even more, but we're on the final lap of this race. We saw these two this close around in the heats earlier on today, but nothing came from it. This time around, though, could we see something about it? Woda didn't have enough in the tank to do it earlier on. Has he got enough in the tank to do it here? Could he be the 3rd final winner? Is Flusha going to win her 4th final of the season? For her, she leads this championship by a good chunk of points. She's got a 347 from the 250 from Filipe Caras. A look at her results over the course of this season so far. Fast, first in Cremona, first at Valencia. She's first here in Italy as well at Franciacorta. Across the line, it is Luna Flusha as she wins her 4th final of the season here in Italy at the Franciacorta circuit. It is Luna Flusha leading the championship now by nearly 100 championship points. She lost out on a championship point there. The fastest lap point will go to Wojciech Woda then in 2nd place. That will help him out just that little bit more with 1 extra championship point. But Luna Flusha, well, she at this moment in time is absolutely unstoppable in Europe. But of course, we head to the Middle East for the next rounds. But all is well. All is well in the Flusha camp as they make their way back into Parc Fermé. Well, there you can see the rest of the field just closing in now and making their way back into Parc Fermé. It took us a while to get to the end of this race after, of course, the initial start, the red flag that came out. But Luna Flusha makes it 4 final wins out of 5. She crosses the line in P1. Wojciech Woda in second. Jean-Paul Caras, who ended that race, well, in a pretty calm fashion. Had really no drama ahead or behind. Just focused on what he can do. Was 1 second clear of anyone in front, 1.1 second clear from anyone behind. There's a look at the full results. Flusha from Woda, Caras from Mikalev, head on from Motlaka. Philippe Caras finishing in 7th place from Letama. Then it's Shilkunas from Gale, Kozlova, Biggie, Zanfari from Bonaldi, and Rafalek, who rounds out the top 15. Adam Sador finishes in P16 ahead of Casper Bonda. Yana Kapoor finishes ahead of Charles Troxler. Then it's Gianni Pascal from Romeo Nassar. Anastasia Genesis finishing ahead of Charlotte Page. Julie Adams from Franciszek Zielinski. And Pip Casabene, who rounds out the rest.